The microphone. Oh. Welcome to another exciting episode of Wind Down with Kev. We always like to begin with an attitude of gratitude. So thank you, and you to all of our social media family watching us live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you. Special thanks to all of you that have taken the next steps. You've hit the subscribe button. You've hit the notifications button. Trust and believe we would not be here. It would not be possible without you. So if you haven't done that yet, please click notification and subscribe today. And as we're being grateful, we must say thank you to our sponsors. Could not do it without them. First, you see the Carroll Media logo in the background. Big thanks to Carroll Media. They're the social media team that's allowed me to be a part of the 2 Comma Club the last 2 years. So if you're looking to pick your social media game up, reach out to Carroll Media. They will help you in all the places that they've helped me. Next, would like to thank Canopy Connect. If you're looking to engage digitally with customers and prospects and texting people to do business digitally the way they want it done, reach out to Canopy Connect. They make the process so much easier today than it was 18 years ago when I started my agency. Reach out to Canopy Connect, Carroll Media. Lastly, big thanks, big shout out to Wintrust Financial. It takes money. They are my bank. They help make it all happen. That being said, let's get into it. Let's go on out. Let's continue on our journey of podcasting with 50 agents in 50 states. Can you believe that we have completed 47 podcasts at the end of today? We will have completed 47 podcasts with agents in 42 states, 8 more to go, 2 weeks to go, but let's get started today. Today, we go to the tri-state area, to the neighboring state that is the closest to me, this state plus New Jersey, but I like this state. I like Connecticut. It is a ferry ride away. And across the water in Connecticut, today we're going to podcast with a very new agent, relatively new agent, only 3 years in the game, but she is doing it at a very high level. Wait until you hear her story. Wait until you hear what she walked away from to be here. Wait until you hear how life showed up. But without any further delay, please put your warm Wind Down with Kev hands together and let's give a warm welcome to Daniela Mercado.
Hi.
Hey, Daniela, how are you today?
I am doing good. How are you?
I am excited. I'm excited to have you as a guest on the podcast. I've talked with a lot of veteran agents, right? And they have long stories about their journey and their platform. But I was doing my deep research on you this morning, and I came across a post that you put on Facebook February 20th of this year. And you talked about the decision that you made 3 years ago to walk away from a lucrative career and to start your own business. Pick it up from there, Daniela. Tell the rest of the story.
Yeah, so I had a really good career. I worked with Chase, the top bank in the country. I was actually the top 50 bankers out of 5,000 bankers nationwide. That's how good I was with my relationships with my clients and just helping people build and manage their wealth. I got my securities license with them. Was very fortunate to get trained on Wall Street, right, with JP Morgan. And when the opportunity from Allstate came to have my own agency, I decided to start over. I loved what I did at the bank. I had a lot of great relationships with my peers, my coworkers, my clients, but I did feel like I was hitting that wall, the capped commissions that are in the banking system. It just wasn't for me anymore. And I really like the fact that I can still do the financial services with Allstate, still help people build, manage their wealth, now protect it with insurance, and be able to be that financial guidance for them and continue doing what I've been doing for 10 years now at this point.
I love it. I want to go someplace else, but the obvious is this. The question that comes to mind, you're on Wall Street, you're making a nice salary, you're top 50, that's top 1% without a calculator, and the company. What made you even open to the idea of considering an alternative career?
I was getting capped on my commissions, to be
Okay.
honest, and I wanted something that didn't cap my potential, and Allstate seemed like the perfect opportunity for that.
I love it. So let's say it a different way. You were getting paid, but you wanted to get paid, paid in full for all that you were doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's very relatable and connectable to many people out there that are, doing well in corporate America. But when you see your contributions to a company's bottom line and there's a cap on you, but not a cap on the company, there's nothing wrong with wanting a little bit more. So, Daniela, you take this journey, you make the decision to leave a very nice career, good money, good company, Wall Street. It doesn't get better than that. Were you commuting down from Connecticut to New York, or were you living in New York at the time?
No, so I trained in Wall Street, but I was
Okay.
working in Stanford. That was my main office.
Okay, that's another major financial capital. You're probably still closer to New York City than I am. I'm 34 miles away, which is a 2-hour drive. But anyway, um, you're there. You decide to go into your own business, and then life shows up. You get a pleasant surprise.
Yes, I did. 2 weeks after I quit my job, I found out I was pregnant with my second child, who's now about to be 3 next month.
Wow, what went through your head when that happened?
Um, my initial reaction was maybe I shouldn't do this, but I was like, I'm not a quitter. So, this is a challenge for me, but I'm gonna overcome it. And I like challenges. Like people call me crazy for that, but I love taking risk. I love challenging myself. So that was just another challenge to overcome in the books.
So
I
let,
would,
let me ask you a question about that doubt. You have that doubt, maybe I shouldn't do it.
yeah.
Did you leave Chase in a way that door was cracked that you could have walked back in if you wanted to?
Possibly, yes. They were very, very upset to see me go. Um,
Okay.
so possibly.
I love it. I love it. So you're here. Congratulations. Your second child is 3 years old. I think you have two. How old is the oldest child?
He's going to be 5 in July.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Two children under five. The obvious question that will pop in anyone's head, listening to or watching this, um, how does it work being an Allstate agent, being able to balance work with family?
So at first, I think I struggled a lot with the work-life balance. I was working every single day. When I say every day, Sunday through Sunday, I was working until 8 o'clock at night. It wasn't until recently until I started giving a break where I try not to work Saturdays, definitely don't work Sundays, and then once the clock hits 6, I turn off everything to manage that work-life balance between work and my kids.
I love it. Hard stop at 6 o'clock. Whatever you got done today is done. If it's not done by 6, it goes until tomorrow.
Exactly.
Beautiful, beautiful. So before we get heavy in insurance, shout your family out. I asked about the kids. Show love to anybody that you love and shout them out. We love doing that.
Of course. I mean, obviously, I'm grateful for my mom, my mother-in-law, my fiance. They've all been an emotional support system for me. I also have great Allstate agent friends. My friend Joanna, she's local in Connecticut as well, and she's been a great support. We actually started 3 months apart, so we bounce a lot of ideas from each other.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So mother-in-law, fiance, shout them all out. Thank you for supporting Daniela and getting her to where she is today and the local Allstate agent as well. Um, how important was it for you to build a relationship with the local agent that you're running across the same sorts of things with, maybe problems, maybe policies, service issues that are not in the book, but you have to talk to somebody about it to figure it out.
Very important. We bounce ideas off of each other to this day. There's things that she struggles with that I may help her with, and vice versa. We definitely complement each other on each other's weakness. So I'm glad we have each other in that support system. Also, in Connecticut, it's a small state where there's, I think, like three Hispanic women in the whole state that are all state agents. So we're one of the two out of the three in the entire state.
Well, that is very, very, very important to have that network within the network. To have that, and Connecticut's a huge state with a huge Latino population that really needs your services. So it's very important that all three of you succeed. And then I know you have a few guys on the Latino side in Connecticut as well. Have you connected with them as well?
I have, yes.
Good, good, good stuff. And you've also connected with people nationally.
Yeah.
How did you go about making friends with agents in other states, and what has that meant to you?
Well, I was actually referred to the Craig Wiggins group by a colleague of mine, an Allstate agent in Connecticut. My sales market leader told me to talk to him when I first started with Allstate, and he told me to join the group that Craig Wiggins has for the Allstate agents. So I have reached out to a few agents. Marianne in Maryland. I've talked to her a few times. She's also
Yes.
has a similar journey as me. And I can say naturally, she's been one of my good friends. And I
Yes.
also have a friend in Florida, Lisa Fana. I send her a lot of referrals from my clients that want to move to Florida. I don't blame them.
I shout out to Mariana. She's a good person.
Yeah,
And now, through your journey, through a transition, through giving birth to your beautiful baby, a couple of years in, and in 2024, you won National Summit, top 8% of agents in the country.
thank you.
And so now you get to take a trip and you're going to meet some of these national connections by phone. You'll get to meet some of these people in person. How much are you looking forward to the trip?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going with my fiance and my two kids, so it's going to be like a family trip for us. I'm excited.
Well, I love it. If I can tell you a Mariana Fernandez story, I first met her at a CWC event. She walked in, husband, new baby in tow, and saw her again last year. The baby's growing. We all are family. So you will not be alone having your family with. In my very, very long journey, one of the best parts of raising my family while being here at Allstate is they've all grown up with Allstate and they've all seen the world with me on different trips that I've been on. So I love that. I'm happy you. I'm happy for your family. Okay. So let's talk about the job a little bit. You're in the job now. What do you love about being an Allstate agent?
The networking. I love meeting new people. I still talk to my friends from the bank. Now we're referral partners. So I love going out to lunch with my friends and talking business. I love training my girls on my team, helping them do better, helping them meet their personal goals, and also helping my clients, teaching them. I think that a big gap is a lot of people just don't understand insurance, and being able to be that person to educate them and open up their eyes and making those educated decisions. That's really what it's all about.
I love it. And I would venture to say that most people don't understand any part of insurance. Sometimes we get to connect with them because they buy a policy from us because we have a winning price.
Yeah.
But most people don't really understand insurance until there's a loss and until they have a claim. And then it's, what do you mean? I didn't understand. But let's go back to two things you said that you love. You love training your staff and you love teaching your clients. Very similar to what you enjoyed at Chase, the wealth management journey. So, talk about the joy that comes from training and teaching clients. Is there a teacher in you that just loves educating people?
I think so. I did go to college for psychology. So, and I did it because I just enjoy knowing how the brain works. But I do enjoy seeing people's growth. I I have, I guess, like this innate desire to help others. So I
I
enjoy
love it. Would you say this is the perfect career for people that have that innate desire to help others?
absolutely. Yes.
Good, good, good. And then you talk about training your staff. I'm happy to hear the story. You and I connected by phone maybe a year or two ago, and you told me, "Oh, Kevin, I'm doing this. I love what I'm doing, but I'm having trouble putting together the team." What was the turning point? Where did you begin to find people? Because if I were to say what's the number one thing most agents struggle with, and probably other small business owners, is finding staff to work with you.
Hmm. So I think the turning point is, well, one of my struggles was, and it's something I haven't really shared on social media, was I actually had problems with childcare. So it was hard trying to find staff while taking care of my kids during business hours. So I think my turning point was just getting the childcare finally resolved and being able to focus on that. So I've been networking a lot, telling everyone, if you know anyone that's looking for a job that speaks Spanish, preferably, send them my way. They don't need to be licensed as long as they're motivated. I'll help them through the licensing, going on Indeed, finding people who have the resumes active on Indeed. That's really been my strategy.
I love it. And I like the fact that you're networking. At all times, I'm interviewing, whether I'm actually hiring or not. So if I'm in a restaurant, I'm interviewing. If somebody treats me nice, I'm interviewing.
Mhm.
Why aren't you working in insurance? So I'm glad that worked for you, and glad you were able to solve that piece so you could put it together. Because finding perfect childcare so you can have peace of mind while you're at work is everything for a leader. So thank you for sharing that here. A lot of times on social media, we like to post the highlights, the victories, the
Yeah.
picture that we take 5 times, but we
Mhm.
don't share the backstory that, hey, I'm here now, I'm working and I'm trying, but in the back of my head, what I'm really thinking about is, are my kids good? And
Mhm.
that is, as a father of three, the grandfather of three, that is a thought that will stay with you long after they're between the ages of 5 and 3.
Mhm. Exactly.
Now that's good stuff. You found your people, Indeed, and through networking. Didn't require a license. Have you been successful in getting them licensed now?
They're in the process. They're in the process. So they do have their deadlines.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's a tough process.
It
It's
is.
not easy, and it's good that you're willing. So many times, Daniela, we are recycling the same people, right? We're all hiring people that have licenses and they work for someone else, and you have to break their bad habits. But you're doing great in that you're hiring them and you're teaching them, and you'll get them through, and they'll succeed. They will succeed with your leadership and your mentorship. It'll be fine. Let's talk about you getting into the business. So you had your securities license at Chase already.
Mhm.
How was the property and casualty licensing process for you in the state of Connecticut?
It was a process. So I was solicited by Allstate during COVID. I was actually on COVID quarantine. I got lucky for 2 years. I got to stay home and get paid. So during that time, I was home with my newborn child, who is now about to be 5. But um, when they reached out to me on LinkedIn, that's when I really reconsidered what I really wanted. Being home for 2 years, I had the chance to really look at my career and where I was going now with my baby.
Nice.
I'm a new mom, my first baby. Do I really want to continue working the corporate world, or should I go into this? So the first step in the process is obviously to get the license. I'm going to be honest, this was during the summertime, so it did take me 3 months because I wasn't studying every day, but I did pass it on my first try.
Nice.
My life and my PNC. I mean, all my securities licenses, I passed every single one on the first try, but it was a little stressful. I mean, the chapters are long, and the last 2 weeks before my test, I just crammed. I made it the absolute priority for me to study, just get through it and get this test passed.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's not a easy task, and you could read slowly, but sometimes it does require that cramming of turn the TV off and just do this. I call it just like ingest all this information, spit it out on a test, pray for a passing grade, and walk away and
Mhm.
really get to work. Really get to work. Um, at Chase, were you a wealth manager? You're building relationships with business owners. Tell me a little bit about what the parallels were with that job and with what it is being an all-state agent.
Yeah. So I was a relationship banker at Chase. That was my actual title. And I will say the similarities is very, very similar. It's really about building the relationship, putting the client first, finding out what their needs are, and then giving them the recommendations based on what their needs are. It's the same thing in insurance. It's finding out, getting to know the client before you can give them the recommendations of what they need. With insurance, it's the same philosophy. So that has helped me a lot in this transition. It's helped me a lot with training as well. So, and that's the philosophy we use. We put the client first, get to know them first before you even start talking about the coverages.
I love it. I like what you said just about know your client. We don't put enough emphasis on that. So both for the insurance person that's listening and for the client, if you were writing insurance on me and we weren't podcasting, what are some things that you would ask me that's not related to the application, not the name, address, and those things, but what are some things you would ask me to get to know me?
I usually ask, do you have kids? How old are your kids? What do you like to do for fun? I usually ask about your retirement. Hey,
Nice.
where do you work? What do you do for work? Do you have a retirement there? How long have you been there? I usually ask those questions because people leave their jobs. They leave a 401k behind. They don't know what happens to that. And that's a way for me to help them to make sure that that retirement fund is on the right track for them. So those are a few of the questions. Now, if this is someone that doesn't have kids, I'll probably ask them questions like, "Do you plan to have kids in the future? Or if they rent, do you plan on buying a house in the near future?" I try to dig a little deeper what their financial plans may be or what their goals may be, because whether they're buying a house, whether they're moving, if they don't have kids or they plan to have kids, as an insurance agent or as a financial specialist, you're still a part of that from the
Yes.
financial standpoint.
Yes. I love that I love that pattern of you getting to know your client because the worst thing we can do not to take the logo of one of our competitors is try to save 15% in 15 minutes. You can be in such a rush to give someone cheap insurance. Um State of Connecticut is just like New York. We have the highest end, you have the wealthiest people in the world, especially not too far from you, and then you can have lower end people, but you don't know who's who until you ask the questions. You can't judge by uh, where they live, where they work, or if they're in jeans and a t-shirt. It doesn't matter. You could be talking to the wealthiest person in the world. So it's fantastic that you're asking those deeper questions. Um, there's a statement that says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. How has it worked for you when people see that you're asking them and showing that you care about some things that aren't traditional?
Um, well, it depends on the person. Some people are very open book and they care. Some people can be very closed book and just tell me, I just want to do the quote. So the people that are more open book, those are the ones that I tend to close. The ones that are like more like straightforward, I just want to price apples to apples. I don't really want to listen to what you have to say. Those are the ones that don't have an interest in building a relationship with your local agent. But the ones that I can connect with, I would say that those are the ones that tend to actually give me the lower objections when I give them that price at the end of the day. Those are the ones that may say, "Oh, I really want to go with you," but like they try to work with me to actually get the deal done.
I love it. Now, Danielle, I'm obviously familiar with Connecticut, very, very close to me. Got a couple of wonderful casinos up there. All three of my sons went to school farther north than you are in Connecticut. But for someone listening to podcasts that doesn't know Connecticut, what are some of the weather related issues that impact the people of Connecticut that's very important to protect people from when you're insuring them?
Absolutely. I would say the snow, the icy roads. I live in the city, but most of Connecticut is not the city. It's mainly woods. So I do get a lot of claims when it's snowing and the roads are icy because there's a lot of curves on our roads, and it causes for a lot of motor vehicle accidents, a lot of people just slipping on the road. So I think that would be like the biggest impact. As far as home claims, the biggest thing is trees. Whenever there's a windstorm,
Yes.
the most common thing is trees falling on their house.
Yes. Yeah, both of those things are really, really super critical when you say it. I think of 95 North. I think of the surrounding streets, and ice is nobody's friend. Black ice really will mess some people up. Um, you're early. Have you given people good coverages as it relates to their wheels and their walls and their wealth? Have you had a claim where you really have been able to help somebody out? Anything that comes to mind that they've been like, "Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that you gave me the right coverage so I can, put my life back together."
Yeah. Um, I actually have a cousin that bought a house and she had state minimums before she transferred to me. When she transferred to me, I did increase her liability, and she got into a small little accident, and the person is now suing her for mental distraught, for physical injury, for loss of wages. All of that stuff is added in there. And now she's grateful because obviously that adds up, and now we're taking care of it.
I love it. That is huge. We live in a world where people want to get wealthy by playing the lottery or suing someone else, but
Mhm.
people don't think about being a victim of the lawsuit. So you doing the right thing for your cousin who has a house in Connecticut, and Connecticut's not a cheap area to buy houses. They're very expensive. A
Mhm.
lot of nice homes, a lot of big homes, older homes. So yeah, so kudos to you and your cousin. How big an advocate is she for you right now when telling people that they better talk to you about their insurance?
I'm pretty sure she's a big advocate. She has sent some people my way.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's what it's that's what it's all about. Um, we started the conversation talking about your background with Chase and wealth management, relationship banker. I've worked with relationship bankers. I think the job is to reach out to business people, and people need that extra service. In Allstate, a lot of times when I'm speaking, I like to say we do three things. We help people with wheels, walls, and their wealth. What's your reaction to that? What are your thoughts on that? How it relates to being an Allstate agent, and just like with your cousin, how do you protect their wheels, their walls, and their wealth?
So obviously, we protect their auto with their car insurance, making sure they have the right liability limits in place, making sure they have collision and comprehensive if it's a brand new car, and also with the home, making sure they have the right coverages. I mean, there's a lot of things with the home specifically. I recommend water backup coverage. There's so many people that don't have it and aren't aware of it. And when I talk to them about it, it's not even worth a lot of money to have, but we
Yes.
always include it on their policies. Because if it's not tree related, it's usually related to your plumbing. So that could be a big damage inside the home. And then with the protecting the wealth, always including the umbrella whenever we can, and
Yes.
always including the retirement review, making sure that their retirement is on track, making sure that if they have kids, are they planning for their kids' future, for their education, and having those meetings and those conversations.
I love it. This is a natural segue for you. This is a natural segue. It's to be
It's very natural. I love talking about financial planning. I could talk about it all day long.
so. How often, as you're doing it, I would imagine that customers are pleasantly surprised. So no matter, I can tell in talking to you quickly that no matter where it starts, you're going to go full circle to wheels, walls, and wealth with everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Your passion for financial planning, where does that come from?
That's a good question. I think I just had such a good experience at Chase that I just loved helping people when I did it. And when I was studying for my securities licenses, I think it opened my eyes a lot too. I was really young. I was 20 years old at the time. I was the youngest person in the room.
Wow.
So it made me realize that our educational system in this country is very flawed. Like, you don't learn insurance, you don't learn about real estate, you don't learn about stocks. And I guess I was very fortunate, very blessed to be able to learn this at such a young age and be able to share that education, because not everyone is financially literate, and not every a lot of people need hand holding. So I think that's where my passion is, and I have been able to apply what I've learned in my own personal life, being able to have my own accomplishments at a very young age as well.
I mean, I love it. I'm writing down. You got in the bank at 20 years old. Was that right out of school while you were in school?
Yeah. So I before I was working at the bank, I actually did work for an insurance broker, but I wasn't licensed, and it was very short term. I was probably there for like 6 months, but I was in college. I went to college full time while I was working full time at the bank.
Nice. Good for you. Good for you. And I love what you said about the gap that we don't talk about financial literacy in school. And you've mentioned training and teaching. Do you think financial literacy is one of the things that makes you unique as an agent, that especially because you're asking questions and giving them things to think about instead of so many agents lead with, I'm going to save you money. It would seem to me that you're leading with adding more value by asking more questions than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really about having everything in place, whether it's putting your money in savings versus the stock market, or protecting your assets with the right policy. You can have a car insurance policy, but if you have state minimums and then you have an accident and that doesn't cover the accident, it's kind of like throwing your money away for having the wrong insurance policy in place.
So let's dive into the state minimums for a second. What are the state minimums in Connecticut?
25,000 per person bodily injury, 50,000 per accident, 25,000 in property damage.
Okay. So when we say that, let's go to the property damage first, probably the easiest on this format. If
Yeah.
someone only has to have $25,000 for property damage and they damage, the average car on the road, 50,000, maybe more, they're stuck.
Hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent. What example? How do you explain that to people and how do they react? Similar to your cousin, it's a huge help that you're taking the time to educate them on that.
For property damage, well, I mean, we're in Connecticut. You see BMWs everywhere. You see a lot of Teslas. You see the cyber trucks everywhere. So I just tell them that you see these cars all over the road. You hit one of those cars and you're screwed. Like
And you
your those 25,000 is not gonna pay for that.
Absolutely. I said $50,000 cars. You're naming Teslas and Beamers, so you're starting with $100,000 cars. And I love that you're using that local reality with it, because we all have to base it on where we are locally, right? So you're Stanford, you're not far from Greenwich, you're not far from really some of the wealthiest communities in the entire country. There aren't, when you talk Greenwich, there's always like top 10 wealthiest, and you're what, 15 minutes away from that area? Stanford's still in that area?
My office is very, really well located. We are 5 minutes away from Greenwich and actually 10 minutes away from Pound Ridge, New York. So,
Wow. Wow. So let's talk about, you talked about being one of three Latino women agents in the state of Connecticut.
mhm.
What, if anything, how are you using your financial literacy knowledge, your financial literacy approach? How are you using that to have conversations with the Latino community?
I use it a lot. I mean, a lot of my networking is with the Latino community, and I naturally get a lot of call-ins from the Latino community. They see my name, Allstate. That's a Spanish name, so let me call her. But I always take the opportunity to educate them. Something my mom brought to light for me is my mom was both my parents. They were both born in Colombia. I'm first generation in this country, so
Okay.
for me, it's a little different, my perspective versus their perspective. So I always ask her about what their perspective is on insurance so I can understand a little better. And something she brought light to me is that a lot of Latinos, when they come to this country, insurance is brand new to them, because in a lot of Latino countries, it's not a requirement. So they're just getting it because they know they need it for their car to be registered or for their house to be bought, but they don't really understand it. So I do take the opportunity to let them know, I know you're looking for insurance because you need it, but this is also why you need it. You're in a country where lawsuits are very easy to get formed. It's not like in Colombia. I'm Colombian, so I'm going to use Colombia. You can, I hate to say it, but you can run someone over with a car and no one's getting sued. Here in this country, you need insurance to protect you from those type of things.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You talked about networking, and with a lot of organizations, a lot of your referrals come from the Latino community. Talk about some of the organizations that you're a part of or that you network with.
I am a member of NAREP, National
Yes.
Association of Hispanics in Real Estate Professionals.
Yes.
I do a lot of their, attend a lot of their events, and that's really where I've gotten a lot of my sources.
Yes.
But I have had a really good relationships with the mortgage bankers that I used to partner with at the bank. So I met real estate agents through them as well.
I love it. And I'm so glad you mentioned NAREP. I am a card carrying advocate for NAREP. I have been for many, many years, just trying to advocate both Latino agents and non-Latino agents to have Latino staff to become a part of the organization, and very familiar with the mission statement of NAREP, which is really to create Latino wealth throughout the country. They do a great job. They talk about the numbers. They publish the report every year. So the fact that you're in this space means a lot. You're walking in perfect alignment with your vision, and insurance on wheels, walls, and wealth very much aligns with NAREP's vision. So I'm not surprised that you're growing and doing well in your agency because of it. How many of your NAREP connections have asked you about what it takes to be an all-state agent and want to learn more about insurance and possibly join the business one day?
None.
None, not yet. They don't know yet. They don't know yet. Wait until you take the trip. Where are you going for National Summit?
Yes, absolutely.
Where is it,
Oh,
Colorado or?
sorry. Yes, in Colorado, we're going to Vail.
Okay. Outstanding, outstanding. Well, wait until they watch you grow and watch you do and how you're building your agency. They will definitely, more people will gravitate towards you and ask you what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how can they be a part of it. They're going to knock your doors down. Daniela, before we wrap, is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask?
Um, no, I mean, I think you nailed all the questions. Thank you so much for having me.
No, not at all. Anything you're working on, goals that you have for this year?
Um, yes, I want to buy a house. I have a condo that I own, but I want to buy a house. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but hopefully next year.
Okay, that is quite a goal. 2024, you finished top 8% in the company. Looking for a repeat performance this year?
I am. Hopefully, I hit Pinnacle Elite this year.
Wow, we're going for top 3% in the company. You're coming from your banking background where you performed at a high level. Glad that you're thinking about approaching this the same way. Daniela, you left a lucrative corporate job, major brand, Chase. Everybody knows Chase Bank around the country. And right now, there's going to be someone, could be male or female, could be Latino, non Latino. There could be someone that's just looking and considering leaving their job, and they're wondering how you had that leap of faith. Can you give that person some encouraging words?
Absolutely. The sky's the limit. There's really all you have to do is believe in yourself, have the confidence, work hard for it, be focused, and you'll be able to accomplish anything you want.
I love it. I love it. Daniela, you're working hard. What time does a typical day start for you?
My day starts at 7:30 a.m. with getting the
Okay.
kids ready for school. And I usually drop them off by 9 a.m. at school. I'm in the office by 9:05, 9:10, and then I don't end the day until 6 o'clock when it's time for me to go home.
I love it. I love it. Full day, getting 3 and 5 year old off, going to six. You shut it down. How do you wind down at the end of the day?
I just lay down and watch TV after the kids go to sleep.
What are you binge watching now? What are you watching on the regular?
I am looking for something new. I just finished watching a game show. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I think it was called on
Nice.
Netflix. and
Nice.
it was very short-lived, but I'm looking for something new.
I wish I could recommend something, but I rarely watch anything good on TV myself. I had a pressing question that came to mind as we were saying that. I loved you shared a big wind down thing that I think anybody can use. Just shutting everything off, shutting the world out at 6 o'clock is major. I try to leave my phone in a room that I don't sleep in, so it doesn't bother me. So it's not pinging and blinging all night every night. That's what I wanted to do. I'd be remiss. Danielle, let's end this way. I would like for you to take 60 seconds just to speak to the Latino community in Spanish, just what some of the financial literacy things. So the people in Connecticut know you, and you can have this as a commercial, if you will. Your thoughts on insurance and how they should see it and why they should talk to you.
Okay, so el seguro es importante porque en este país la gente busca cualquier manera de tratar de sacar una demanda. Tienes que proteger las cosas por las que usted trabaja. Me puedes llamar a mí para una consulta para averiguar los precios mejores, los planes mejores para usted y su familia para proteger lo que es lo más importante.
I love it. So I got a lot of that. Me habla poquito español, que aprende mucho. So I heard you give your name. I heard you give your location. Can you also say in Spanish something that you said a little bit in English earlier? Can you just talk about the importance of having the right insurance in the state of Connecticut and not settling for the minimums? And se habla español.
So, es importante que tengan las coberturas correctas porque uno nunca sabe lo que puede pasar, especialmente si tienen hijos o personas dependiendo de usted. Usted es responsable por ellos también y el seguro ayuda a mantener esa mentalidad estable aquí.
All right. Now I'm going to beat this up with my broken Spanish. Where I'm trying to go is I'm going to ask you, why should more Latino professionals consider a career in insurance? But let me ask it in Spanish. ¿Por qué trabajo de seguro? Now I'm no all my I didn't conjure my verbs correctly, but I want to ask why more should consider the career in insurance.
Es un trabajo muy bueno. Te da la oportunidad de enseñarle a los demás y ayudar a los otros latinos a entender la importancia del seguro.
I love it. Your answer was much better than my question. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been a fabulous, fabulous guest. Before I wrap, did I trigger any additional thoughts, anything you'd like to share before we wrap it up?
At this moment, no.
Okay. Mucho gracias, Daniela. Stay with me for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this journey to the great state of Connecticut with our wonderful guest, Daniela Mercado. Thank you to all of you who watched this live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you in advance to all of you that will watch it at a later date. If you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe and notification button so you can be informed when great content like this comes out. Big thank you, as always, to my sponsors, Carol Media, all things social media, Canopy Connect, all things digital in the insurance business, and my banking partner, Wintrust Financial. Ladies and gentlemen, talk to me in the comments. Put your hands together and give a warm wind down with Kev thank you to Daniela Mercado.